Welcome back. Today in this video, I want to show you guys how I'd go about setting up the new release of Vuetify with Nuxt3 application. As you know, Nuxt3 released their official version some time back, which is 3.0, stable version. You can visit their website at nuxt.com and read the announcement if you want to learn more. So Vuetify3 is out, Nuxt3 is out, and to get started, we can go to the Nuxt documentation and go to the installation page here, and then it will show you all the stuff that you need to get started. Of course, Node, they recommend VS Code, the Vars extension, and you can enable takeover mode, which is detailed on this page. Enabling takeover mode is simple. It's opening the command palette in VS Code, searching for the built-in extensions, and disabling TypeScript. But I'll show you how to do that soon. Next, they show you here how you can actually disable generating the shim. So you just add this to your Nuxt config and you'll be good to go. And this is how you create a new project with the npx command. So npx Nuxt init, the name of the project, and then you can, install the dependencies, start the dev server, and you'll be good. So let me just show you how I'd go about doing that right now. So VS Code, we open the terminal, have Node installed. You can check that by running node-v. I'm running 16.17.1. I think the latest version is 18 point something, not sure, but this one works just fine. So I'm going to start. I have a new folder, nothing in this folder as yet. So npx Nuxt init and a full stop. This full stop is just telling the command to generate the files in this current directory. So hit enter, creates the files fairly quickly. So npm I will install the dependencies. Now while the dependencies are being installed, let me just jump over back to Chrome and go to the get started for Vuetify. So you see it's not next.vuetifyjs.com, and they're showing us how to create it here with their CLI tool, I imagine, but we're not going to use this. We're going to install it manually. So we're going to grab this, head back to VS Code, and as soon as the dependencies are done installing, we'll just run the install the Vuetify package. All right, good. Everything is installed. We have a working Nuxt application. If we should run this, let me just run npm run dev. Open this in Chrome. And we get this. This is the Nuxt welcome component that we have here in VS Code. So this Nuxt welcome thing, this is what you get from it. But they actually recommend that you replace it with your own code. So let me just close this for now and head back to VS Code and start adding more stuff. So we want to install Vuetify at next. Then let's add some dev dependencies. I want to install SASS as a dev dependency and the Nuxt icon module. I also want to install custom fonts. So let me just go and grab that package real quick. Google Fonts. This version is not working with Nuxt3, unfortunately, but there is a fix. there's an issue on the repository, this one, where the fix is to install the pre-release version. Right, so we copy this, go back to VS Code, and then we just add that right here. Hit enter and install the dependencies, and then let's do some configuring. So we head to the Nuxt config file, and we want to add both modules. So let's add the Nuxt icon module. Yep. And then the Google Fonts module. So let's just jump back to Chrome and get this set up. So copy this, add it to the list of modules. Good. And we save that. Now with Vuetify, we have to create a plugin. So let's create plugins, Vuetify.ts, and head back to the Vuetify website to see how we should actually install this or set this up. So we need this create Vuetify thing here. So back to VS Code, we need to import this, and this is how you actually create a plugin in Nuxt. You export default define Nuxt plugin. So this function, not even sure if this is a function. I think it's a function. First argument is the Nuxt app, or the only argument I think is the Nuxt app. And what's this? Should be an arrow. Good. And then inside of this, you will create your Vuetify instance. So this is going to be equal to create Vuetify. And then if you press Control and the spacebar, these are all the properties of this object. So the first one that we want to set is SSR, because we're using Nuxt. So we'll set SSR to true. Save that. And then here we say app, which is the Nuxt app. And you can see when we put the dot there, we get a few properties that we can configure. The one that we want to actually use is the view app. This is the view instance. And then we want to say dot use and use Vuetify. So with this, Vuetify is added to our application, but we still need to do a few more things inside of our Nuxt config here. So first, let's enable takeover mode. So we add the TypeScript key here, and then set the shim to false. And then you want to press Ctrl+Shift+P to bring up the palette in VS Code. And then we will search for built, and then we select this one, extensions, show built-in extensions. Click on that, and then type in TypeScript, and then click on this little cog, disable workspace. Of course, you'll have to reload, and just like that, takeover mode is now enabled. Good. The next thing that we want to do is we want to transpile Vuetify. So we're gonna go to the build object, transpile, and this should be an array, and we want to add Vuetify to this array. We also have to do a little bit of Vite configuration as well. So here, Vite object, SSR, and then we go to no external. This is also an array. We add Vuetify to this as well. Hit save, and good. Next thing is that we want to go back to the Vuetify website, and they're actually recommending that you import all the components and directives here, but I don't think that's smart. I think it's best if we use the tree shaking feature, which can be found here. So we click on tree shaking, and you can see that they actually have a guide for Nuxt. And what makes tree shaking possible is the Vite plugin for Vuetify. So this is the npm page. You can just visit it and take a look at what it does and how it works, but I'll show you as well. So for Nuxt, we have a tab for Nuxt here. We want to install this package. Cool. So let's copy it, go back to VS Code, and we're gonna install it. While that's being installed, let's go and grab the code from Chrome that we need in our Nuxt config. So we copy this import, go back to VS Code, and we import it at the top. Let's close these. I don't know what that is. Go back to Chrome, and then we have to add this to our list of modules. So let's just grab this, go back to VS Code, and then in our modules here, let's just add it. And this is basically just pushing this plugin into the Vite configuration. So we can save that. Let's see. I think this is enough for this to work. Let me just go ahead and run the post install command again, which is Nuxt prepare. Good. So no errors, should be good. We just got a warning saying that we haven't configured the font module. So let me just go ahead and do that right now. So we can say something like, wait, what's happening here? Why is this all white? What happened? Did I do something wrong? Nope. Right, let's run npm run dev. But before I do that, let me just change this out. I'm going to say this is a v app. As you can see, we're getting the autocomplete from VS Code, so that's good. So this is just the application layout. You can actually find this on the Vuetify website here, where it shows you how you should actually go about structuring the application. So it's the v app, and then the app navigation bar, the app bar, vmain, and then a container or whatever you want to put inside of vmain. Cool. So let's jump back to VS Code. So we have v-app, vmain, and let's just go vcontainer. And inside the container, let me add a text field. Label of name, type of name. Yeah, that should be good. Let me try and run this application. Let's see if it will actually work. Still no funds provided. Click on this link and head back to Chrome and see what happens. And we have this very weird looking input field. So something is definitely wrong. I think what's happening is we're not importing the styles. So let's just go back to VS Code and add the styles. So in our Nuxt config, we can go CSS. I think something went wrong when I pasted this thing here. Let me see. What's wrong? We have that. Not sure what's wrong, but no errors so far. So I guess we're good. Let me run the post install again. All right, so CSS, and let's import the Vuetify styles. Save that. Run the project again. Head back to Chrome and see what's happening. And there we go. So this looks normal, somewhat normal. Let me try adding an app bar to see if it will be rendered properly. App bar. Hello. Save that. Chrome again. Good. So Vuetify is added to our application, and we can go ahead and use the components and directives as we see fit. Now, if you are okay with just using the vanilla components, then you can stop here. But I like to customize my applications, so of course I'll not stop here. The next thing that I want to look at is customizing the SASS variables. So if you visit this guide in the documentation, it says that if you're using Vite, which Nuxt3 uses by default, then you should install SASS as a dev dependency. We already did that at the start, and it's telling you if you want the basic usage, you can remove this styles import and create a main.scss file and then add this to it and customize the variables here. The issue with this approach is not all the variables can be customized this way, not all the component variables. So for component specific values, they actually recommend that you do it this way. So the first thing is you should enable Treeshaking, which we did just know, by adding this to our module section and installing the Vite plugin Vuetify package. The next thing is to create the file that will hold the customized configuration, or the SCSS file that will hold all the variables. So we're gonna copy this thing, right? And head back to VS Code. Let's stop the app from running. Close this. And we're gonna come here and we're gonna create it like so and paste it in. Now we don't have this file as yet, settings.css, but I'm going to put it in the assets folder. So let me copy this, save this, and just create this file over here. And in here, we want to add this thing from the documentation. So just copy this, head back to VS Code, paste it in. No, I don't want these variables, so let me just leave it like this for now. And then if we restart our application, we should be able to customize a few variables. But let me go ahead and add the fonts so we don't get that warning. Back to Chrome, to the setup of the Google Fonts module. Let me just copy this thing and back to VS Code, paste it in. So I'm going to use, let's go with Poppins. I like Poppins. And bring in different font weights that we want for the Poppins font family. If you're not sure what the available weights are, you can just visit the fonts.google.com link and pick a font from there, pull in the required weights. But I'm going to go with all of them for this one. So that's 100, 200. Good. and we want to tell the module to not download the fonts. We want to use the style sheet, and this can be found in the documentation. So if you see here, this is an option. We can set use style sheet to true or false. So that's what I'm gonna do. So here, use style sheet true. And what this will do is, well, it's self-explanatory. Instead of downloading the font faces and adding them to the node modules folder, it's just going to inject the links in the head of the HTML page. I'm going to show you that in a second. The first variable that I want to actually customize here is actually the font family. So we're going to tell Vuetify to use Poppins as the font family instead of Roboto. So to find this variable, you can actually check through the Vuetify documentation, or you can go to the package in your node modules folder, go to library or lib, styles, settings, and then variables. And here it is. So by default, it's using Roboto, then sans serif. So in my settings, I'm going to actually create another variable called family. You don't have to do it like this. You can actually just put this string right here, but I'm going to create this variable up here. Add Poppins, and then sans serif, and then I'm gonna say use this family variable. So we just save that. We can close this, and then let's see. I don't think we have to do anything else. Let me just run the application again and see what happens. There we go. And we have the Poppins font loaded. If we use this extension, what font, bring it on, you can see that it's using Poppins. Size 16, font weight 400, font family Poppins, Poppins. Good stuff. Let's say we want to edit a few more SASS variables. We can actually come to the component. We have the text field on the screen now, so we go to form, inputs and controls, text fields, and then we can go to the API, SASS variables, and just add any of these SASS variables to the settings file that we just created just now. I realize that for the input, most of the styles that I like to change are on the base component, which is this v field. V field is the base component for a lot of the input fields in Vuetify. So like the border radius, I like to change my border radius. I think the default one is 4 pixels, but I like to set it to about 8 thereabout. So I usually just come here, copy this. Let's jump back to VS Code, go back to the settings, put a comma here, add the variable name with a $sign in front of it, and say 8 pixels. Now, if I go back to Chrome and check on my input field, no change. I think this border radius, well, no, that's a lie. It actually changed. It's way more rounded. Let me put a ridiculous figure here and see if I'm just seeing things. So let's go with 25. That should look crazy enough. And yes, we can see that it's very, very round. So the variables are actually working properly. There is an ongoing issue with customizing the variables within Nuxt applications. Right now, I don't think we have the issue. Oh, we actually do. Where this is the issue, right? Let me, how do I, oh, there we go. So a few of the SASS files are not loaded server side. So if you customize the variables, meaning adding that settings.SASS file, you will get a few of these warnings in your console. I think what happens is because of server rendering with Nuxt, it's not able to find these files. Hopefully they come up with a fix for it soon. But there are a few GitHub issues pointing to this issue that everyone is having with Nuxt3 and Vuetify3. Like I said, it doesn't stop it from working, but most developers don't like to see this in their console. So that's a whole nother story. But it works nonetheless. So I don't have a problem with it. Next, what do we want to look at next? I want to look at some other features like global configuration. Global configuration is a new thing in Vuetify. It allows us to set the defaults for different components. Here it's telling you how you would go about disabling the ripple directive for all the components that support it. So you just add it to the global key under the default object inside your create Vuetify function. Here it's showing you how to set the elevation for all V-sheet components to 4 by default. So let's go ahead and do that with the input field that we have on the screen. So we go back to the Vuetify plugin and we add defaults. Defaults. Okay, I'm not getting TypeScript help. I think it's because I disabled this thing. Let me, is Volar enabled? Yes, it is. Is Vita enabled? I don't think Vita should be enabled. Let's disable this. Reload. All right, 1 second. Let me try to fix this thing. Okay, it was definitely the Vita extension that was causing that. All right, good. Let me see. What was I doing? Yes, defaults. So defaults, global if we want to, but we're not doing global. We're actually changing this. And when updating the default values in the Vuetify configuration, you have to use this casing. So capital V, text, capital F, this casing. Cool, you can't use this. So let's go back here and we want to say that for the text fields, let me see, what property can we change? Let me change the variant. Yeah, the variant. And we want all our text fields to have the outline variant. Let me just take this off. And just to show you, if I take off the variant in Chrome, this is what it looks like. This rounded thing, or this filled shape text field. But when I add the outline variant here, hit save and go back to Chrome, it's taking on this shape. Cool. Let me just remove the ridiculous border radius from this text field. Let's keep it at about 7. That should be fine. So yeah, defaults. This is how you would set the default configuration for each component that you want to use. So if I want to set the focus color for each text field to be the primary color, if I hit save there, come back here and focus, you can see we're getting this purple looking color. I think this is a default primary color for the theme configuration for the light mode. Next, theming, right? Theming is very easy. I think this is one of the biggest improvements for Vuetify. The theme configuration, it's easy to add custom themes. It's all here in the documentation, pretty straightforward. So here they're telling you that Vuetify comes with the light and dark theme by default. You can add your own theme. Just create an object up here with this shape, or you can use a theme definition type and add the type to this variable, and then you will get the suggestions inside the object. Yeah, too much talking. Let me just show you how you go about doing this. So in the Vuetify config, theme definition, right? Const my theme of type theme definition is equal to an object. Now if you press Control space, you get all the properties that you can add here. Is it a dark theme? This is a Boolean value. Let's say we want it to be true. And the colors, I think we can add all of these colors plus any other color that we want. So let's say we just want to specify the primary color. Let me grab a primary color real quick. Paste that in, save. Now we can come here and say theme. I think the default theme is going to be the name, which is going to be this thing called my theme. And then let's see. Oh, right. Then to the themes object, we add this theme that we just created, my theme. So if I hit save, let me see, no errors in the console. Go back to Chrome. You can see it's using the dark theme that I just specified. And this is the primary color that I just specified as well. I got it from Tailwind. Shout out to Tailwind. So this is the primary color now. We're using a dark theme. And this is how simple it is to customize your theme in the new Vuetify. Pretty straightforward. Very nice. Love the fact that they actually gave us the power to specify surface color and background color. Specifically background color. I remember this being a pain in Vuetify 2. But yeah, that's it. And they actually show us how we can go about toggling our theme. So let me just copy this code. Go back to VS Code and go here. I think in my app bar, I'm gonna add a spacer. We don't have this function as yet, so let's just add the script. Setup const toggle theme gonna be equal to a function that does something. Nothing just yet. So back to Chrome. Let me see. This is the function. So we're gonna get the use theme composable from Vuetify, and we're gonna use it like this. Let me see. Copy this. Back to VS Code. Up here, import from Vuetify, use theme, and we're gonna say if the theme's name is the dark theme, then we're gonna change it. Wait, what is this saying? Theme.global.name.value is equal to theme.global.value.dark. Then we change it to light and switch it back to dark. Okay. So this is gonna essentially just toggle between light and dark mode. So let's see if it works. So we have this one, moment of truth. Nope, doesn't work. Okay, let me see what's happening in the console. Theme is not defined. Ah, of course. Of course. Theme is not defined. We have to say const theme is equal to use theme. There we go. There we go. All right, let's see if it will work now. Refresh. Toggle. Ah, there we go. Just like that. Switch between dark mode, light mode. I think you can actually pass the name of your theme and it will switch between the two. So I'm just switching between the built-in themes and not the theme that I just created. I'm going to try to switch between the theme that I just created and the light theme. Yeah, let's see what's happening in Chrome. I'm just testing this out. So light theme, dark theme. Ah, this is my theme, the one with the blue. So we're switching between the light, this purple color, and the blue, which is my primary color. So the default primary color, my primary color. Cool. All right, what's next? What's next? Blueprint. I think Blueprint is worth checking out. There's some predefined material design styles. This is MDI1, MDI2 styles, and MDI3. I think this one is still being developed, MDI3. And the way to add that is to go to the Vuetify config. There's a blueprint key right here. And you can just, I think you import blueprints, right? So from Vuetify/blueprints, you can import any other blueprints, MD1, 2, and 3. Let's select 2 and just put MD2 right there. Save that. No errors. And we'll go back to Chrome. Let me see. Not much changed. Oh, MDI2 actually changed the button's default color to the primary color. See? See? Nice. All right. The last thing that I want to look at here is configuring icons. Now, out of the box, Vuetify supports material design icons, material icons, Font Awesome 4 and 5. I think this is the community of material icons, and this one is the official one from Google, and we all know Font Awesome. But I don't like using any of these icons. I like using icons from this website. It allows me to select the icon path that I want to use. The one that I actually like a lot is this one, phosphor icons. I think they're cool. So I'm going to show you guys how to change out the icons to use these or any icon from this website. Cool. So here it will show you on the documentation of Vuetify how you can go about changing out to material, Font Awesome, the whole works. But down here we get instructions on how to create our own custom icon set. I think we have 3 pretty easy steps that we have to follow. The first is we have to define all of the internal icons that Vuetify use, and you can see them right here, the aliases. We have to define all of these. This is not fun. Typing out each icon is not fun, but it's worth it if you want to give your app a polished feel. The next thing is, after defining the aliases, we have to define the custom thing, which is this thing, the icon set. And this is just a component that receives the props and returns a render function, or some component that will render the icon. After defining the aliases and the icon set, you can just go ahead and in your configuration object, you will just, under this icons object, set the default set, the aliases, and bring in that icon set that you created. So I'm not going to type out all of this, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So we start by copying all of this code. Then we go back to VS Code. I'm going to create a folder called utils, and this folder is actually all the functions or files created in this folder is auto imported by Nuxt. Actually learned this the other day. Let me see if I can point you to the documentation for auto import. Yes. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Directory-based auto imports. So Nuxt directly auto imports files created in defined directories. These directories are components, composables, and utils. I did not know about utils. So utils directory. Back to VS Code. In here, I'm going to create a file called icons.ts and paste in this thing. I'm also going to bring in the icon module that we installed at the start. So import, and we're importing this from components, icon. Cool. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not going to type this out. So let me just grab this from a repository that I have somewhere. So GitHub, this thing. I created this Nuxt3 Vuetify3 starter sometime back, 2 months ago. 2 months ago, when I learned that we can now add Vuetify to our Nuxt project. So let me go in the helpers folder, custom icons, and I'm just gonna copy all of this back to VS Code. What did I copy? Copy the whole thing. All right, cool. Good. And if you're wondering why I'm actually seeing the icons instead of just the word or the text, is because of this plugin, Iconify IntelliSense. Yes, this one from Anthony Fu. So we have all the icons defined here. So these are the internal icons. You can tell like this collapse is used on the expansion panel. Cancel is used inside the text field for the clearable button. We have the different messages for the different alert types: success, info, warning, previous, and next for like the data tables, sorting, ascending and descending for the data tables as well. By the way, data tables is actually on its way. It's in the lab stage where they're testing out and trying to refine it. So I won't try to add it now, or I might. Let's see how it goes. But next, we want to provide a function with the render function here. We want to provide something that will actually render our icon on the screen. So we're going to pass in icon, which is this icon component up here. And then we're going to say we want the name of the icon to be props.icon. We want the tag to be prop dot tag and disabled to be props dot disabled. All right, so the reason why we're passing in a name right here is because this module, the icon module, actually requires a name prop. So you can see here, if you hover over it, it says name is required, and the size, it's a prop, but it's not required. So we save that, go back to Vuetify, and then we want to set the icons up right here. So we open this icons object, the default set, we're gonna name this one custom. For the sets, we're gonna bring in the custom variable that we created over here. And then for the aliases, we're gonna bring in aliases. So let me save that. Let's see what happens. Restarting the server. Go to Chrome. Nothing crazy just yet. Let's try adding an icon. Let me add an icon here. So it's a V icon. And then we're going to say ph sum. All right. Let's save that. Nothing crazy in the terminal. Let's see what's happening in Chrome. Ah, there it is. So our icons are being rendered properly. So the setup did work. I don't know why TypeScript is throwing that error, but it works. It's saying something's wrong. I don't know how to fix this right now. All right, next, let's look at the data table. So, Vuetify labs. An introduction saying what labs is. It's saying in this big red alert here, components here are not production ready. Use at your own risk. So I'm gonna test this one out. Let me just copy the code for importing the data table. I think we can close this. And then here we import vdata table from the labs, and then we're gonna add it to the components object right here. So v data table, save that. And then let me look at the rest of the configuration. We can add it like that. And we can set defaults. Okay, nice. So let's look at some of the examples. Basic example. Let me just copy the code. So copy that. Back to VS Code. App.view. And below our text field, let me just add some margin. Wait, margin. Save. And before saving, this is going to throw a lot of errors if I save it like this, because I don't have any of these things yet. So let me just go and grab them. Over here, we want these things. Wait, where does this end? I think it's here, the end of this array. Yep. So we come to our script setup, paste that in. All right, so paste all of the properties in our script setup and format it properly. Hit save and see what it looks like. What it looks like in Chrome. And it works. It actually works. All right, cool. Ooh, what's that? Some hydration mismatch. warnings. All right, cool. So you can see it's using the icons, and these are the default icons that Vuetify use. So like this thing for the drop down. I don't think this is working as yet, or is it? I think this items per page thing, because it's hard coded. Let me see. Can I remove it? Let's remove that. Save. Back to Chrome. Ah, there we go. So the items per page, I think it wasn't working because it wasn't a ref down here. So let's convert all of these to refs. Save that. Should be reactive now. And go back to Chrome. Let me see. 10. Ah, there we go. There was once a property that allowed you to determine the numbers that show up in this list. I wonder if it's already implemented. Let me see. Where's the API? DataTable. Headers, height. Not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Maybe they'll add it in the future. Maybe. Model value. But yeah, I think I'll stop here. Definitely check it out, guys. It's a work in progress, and I really like Vuetify. I just want them to hurry up and get a lot of these core components out so we can start building amazing stuff and, you know, just customize the heck out of it. But yeah, I don't think I'll actually put up a repository of this because it's nothing. It's really just walking you through, you know, the different components and how to customize them, and, you know, just how to add Vuetify to your project. So until next time, peace.